Hey everybody, it's Carpo. Now this morning I'm going to try to make this little podcast without sounding like I'm harping too much on people in particular. I know that we all have our faults and we all have strengths and weaknesses that we can grow from, or I guess grow away from if we want to. Sometimes the way that people word themselves is, well, always the way that people word themselves is very important as to the way that people portray them and interpret the things they say. Most often you'll find yourself being totally misunderstood through comments left on YouTube or a text message sent to a friend. Anytime a written word is used to express or convey an emotion or feeling, it's usually skewed in the process. And I'm no exception. In fact, I'm really bad with words when I'm writing. I can speak, which is why I speak my videos, but I don't generally write long comments because I end up saying stupid things that don't reflect what I was really intending to say. I wanted to give you an example of how these things, how people can turn people off by one little thing, one little comment. I was looking for a job, just looking through the job section to see what they have available. Not sure if I'm going to take, a construction job because of my back or whatnot. And I found this one. It's a skilled, experienced remodeler. So here's the description in the About Us section. It says, small company seeing significant growth year over year, 80% residential, 20% light commercial projects, rely heavily on subcontractors for specialty trades, growth primarily through word of mouth from existing clients, and then the final description, NPR most often on the job site radio, classic rock not found. NPR most often on the job site radio, classic rock not found. Now that to me right there turned me off. I mean, I have absolutely no desire to respond to these people. Merely because of that one sentence. And I'm sure that when the guy included it, he didn't mean anything by it. And the way I interpret that is saying, we're liberal company and that we're, left wing. You're basically bringing your politics into your job site, and you're looking for people who share your political views. And the part about the classic rock really made me wonder, because classic rock is what generally people listen to in construction. And 90% of the job sites have, well, here it's KGON, but there's different stations, and people just play classic rock while they're working. So by saying that, what this person was basically saying is that we're different than others, but not we're different, but we're better. We play NPR. I am very I don't like NPR. I listened to it for a brief time in my life, and within a few months I saw how biased and extreme left they were, and how they spent most of their time talking shit about others, just like they claim that the right wing does. This all ties together because the whole political thing is it gets a little bit out of hand because people don't really know exactly what they stand for, and many of their principles vary, according to left or right wing. Can't be reconciled with either one of those. But it seems like with this idea that we have different views, that we have to impress our views on others, that we have to be not just right, but we have to prove ourselves. We always have to retort or retaliate when someone says something against us or casts stones at us. So we find ourselves getting defensive and lashing back out at other people. So it leads me to this idea of the way that people behave, and some of the way that people word their sentences is based on the fact that they believe that they are right, which means that they believe that they hold important knowledge that the other person is lacking. So this leads me to start asking myself, what is the benefit to knowing more than another person? And I don't think that there's any person that necessarily knows more than another, in the sense of, if you want to break it down to intelligence, smarts, and knowledge, uh, they're completely different things to me. Intelligence is how well you handle things. Intelligence and wisdom are very tied in together. But smarts, on the other hand, is just general quick action and quick thinking. There's a lot of smart people out there. But if you're smart and you don't use your intellect, it turns into being a smart ass. And then people will make comments just to rile a person up and get them upset. And people know how to push buttons. I'm no stranger to psychology. If I want to push someone's buttons, I know how to do it. And I make it a point not to do that, because I find it offensive when people do it to me. And I can see when people are doing it to me. This comes back to many of the debates and arguments on YouTube about how people have been, calling others this or that. And when the name calling doesn't work, they start picking on their family and their kids and their jobs. And when that doesn't work, they pick on their looks. It's people trying to get other people upset. And buying into that just brings the problem home into your own mind. So you have to deal with it too. So I started asking myself, to what degree do you want to express and prove yourself? And the only time when I see it mattering is when a large group of people are completely influenced by someone who is totally wrong. Someone we know is wrong, let's say. Like, for example, a cult leader has a bunch of people convinced that he's God or the Son of God, right? And someone comes up and says this person isn't what he says he is, and tells the members, that this person is delusional. That's talking bad about a person who claims to know something, but his claim to knowledge is harming others. So if a person's claimed knowledge or claimed insight is harmful to those around them, then it's not a valid insight unless unless it can be proven one way or another. Every circumstance is different. But we're always trying to push these little tidbits about ourselves to make ourselves feel better or superior, and that's why I found that advertisement for an employee so funny. That, out of the entire article, which was worded based on nothing more than the need for an employee in this company, they could not resist putting the fact that they were liberal on there and that they didn't listen to this particular type of music. And people do these little snide remarks and comments all the time, and the more you see them, the more you start to see them, and then it becomes easier to cast people off when you know that they're just saying something to irritate you, but they're not saying it because they really believe it. And many of these people who are arguing on YouTube back and forth don't even really believe what they're saying, or even care whether what they're saying about the other person is true. They just want to get the other person mad. Fuck them all. Fuck them all. Don't waste your time. Everybody's got opinions, and everybody's an asshole. How's that? Have a good one, peeps.